Hey, it's Alexi, and in this video we're taking a look at my DIY synthesizer desk setup studio thing. And we'll start with the keyboard. Now what I have here is a native Instruments Kontrol S61 Mark III. It has a 61 key Fatar keybed with polyphonic aftertouch. It's a pretty nice feeling keybed, maybe a little bit plasticky. Doesn't matter. I'm not really a keyboard player, and for my noodling, it's really good. And the hardware feels pretty nice. I like the LED lights here, customizable colors, and we have customizable MIDI templates for my hardware here. There's the I've done all the custom artwork here. There's the opsix, multipoly, wavestate, Eurorack. That's it for now. And there are a lot of features here. It's more meant for VSTs, but I generally only use hardware synthesizers. And here is the Oxi One Mark II. I upgraded from the Mark I as soon as this was available. I've been quite happy with this one. This does all of my MIDI. Basically, all MIDI goes through this into my synthesizers, so the keyboard is going into this one and it's routed into the keyboards or the synthesizers through the Oxi. And it also does MIDI to CV conversion and of course sequencing and all this stuff. So very useful tool to have here. And we'll move on to the synthesizers. Actually, there's the Metroid coaster here, super important part of the setup. And here we have the latest addition to my setup. It's the Korg opsix, very good FM synthesizer with a great user interface. I've been slowly getting to learn FM synthesis using this, and it's very intuitive, very nice to use, and just a great synthesizer. Then we have the Korg Multipoly. Now this is probably my favorite synthesizer at the moment. It just does so much and sounds incredibly good. It does virtual analog or analog modeling. It does digital wavetables, wave shaper, a lot of modulation options, audio rate modulation and everything. Basically almost modular levels of modulation, and a very nice sounding synthesizer. And here we have the Korg wavestate. This was the first Korg synth I bought a little more than a year ago, and I'm still very happy with this. Just a multi-sample playback, wave sequencing, vector synthesis. It's a very good sounding synthesizer. Really the reason why I have the other Korgs, because I was very impressed with this one. And then we have the Eurorack modular. Right now it's a 2 rows of 84 HP, but I'm planning a new build which will be 3 rows of 84 HP. So I'm adding one more row. I just need that little bit more space for the modules I want to have here. So I'll get into the modular probably in later videos more when I have happy with the result. And then we have Link here, who was a souvenir from Tokyo when I visited back in 2018. It's been too long. And next up we have the Roland TR-6S drum machine. Very good sounding drum machine. Does Roland's ACB analog circuit behavior modeling, which is very close to the original hardware for the 808, 909, and etc. And this has all the same sounds as the TR-8S, but you just have 6 of them at a time and you lose a lot of the hands-on control. Now, the one downside is USB power, which can be noisy, so that's kind of the worst part of this. It's a nice compact drum machine, I really like it. Then onto the pedals. We have the Line 6 HX1, which is basically a Swiss Army knife type multi-effects pedal. You only get one effect at a time, but you have all of Line 6 algorithms here. You're only missing basically amp models and cabinet models. So you have all the delays, reverbs, modulation, etc. So very good pedal for adding whatever effects you need at a time. And then we have reverbs. The UAFX Golden is probably my favorite reverb pedal. Sounds incredible. Just the reverbs are really good. It only does reverb, but it does it incredibly well. I really like the Lexicon 224 algorithms here. UAFX claims they are a bit perfect, and I have no reason not to believe them. So it sounds super good and really does those huge lush Lexicon reverbs really well. And then we have the Meris Mercury X, which is a really good reverb and the kitchen sink. So it has a whole lot of effects here. In addition to reverb, you can add all kinds of things to your signal chain. It makes for some very interesting effects. And then we have the Korg NTS2 oscilloscope here, built from the DIY kit. It's a very super simple kit to build. And right now it's displaying 2 LFOs from my Eurorack there. Just a really nice way to visualize waveforms. And I also use it as a tuner for the Eurorack, which is very important if you want to play your modular with other gear. And then we have the dfAudio Minibay version 2. It's a batch bay in a small size. Uses these TRS cables, which I don't like. They save space, but it's kind of annoying because you have to buy all these adapters and everything. But once you have this wired up, it's a really nice patch bay. Basically uses these Eurorack 2.5mm cables here for patching. So if you have a Eurorack, you already have the cables for patching, and you can basically route all your synthesizers to whatever pedals or other effects you have here, and build your signal chain here. And you can also take things to your Eurorack or out of the Eurorack and bring them here. So it's a very nice patch bay. And then we'll move on to the bottom of the desk here. Now here we have my mixer. This is a 19-inch rack, a 1-unit mixer, an ART MX822, which basically just a very simple line mixer, 8 channels, which is right now it's enough for me. And it does have an FX loop that I'm not using at the moment, but it's a stereo FX loop, so it's very nice to have if you need that. And then we have my headphones here, Beyerdynamic DT770 Pro. I like them, they have decent bass, and that is important with synthesizers, and they sound pretty good. Anyway, so a little bit harsh in the high end, but that's okay. And then just a basic hook from a hardware store for a headphone holder there. Huge quality of life improvement. Then we'll move on to the audio interface here. This is super cheap. I got this for even cheaper than retail. It's a Behringer U-Phoria UMC204HD. So 2 inputs basically. I'm running XLR out from the mixer into this and recording whatever comes out of the mixer on a single stereo track, and that's how I record my music. I don't record multi-tracks or anything. I find it's easier to get to actually uploading the music when you don't have the choice of tweaking afterwards. So it is what it is. So I also need the headphone output for when I'm streaming for monitoring. And then we'll move on to this guy here. This is a DIY Eurorack cable holder. Basically just has these grooves here where you stick your cables, much like those commercial ones made out of metal. It's just a bit of scrap plywood that I cut like this and mounted to the bottom of the desk. It works really well. The cables are out of the way and they are always available, so can't complain. Works nicely. Okay, then we'll move on to the back of the desk. So I think we'll start here. You can see my pedal shelf here. It's made out of these wood, what do you call them? You stick them on a corner in your house. So these are all from our house stuff that was extra. So I usually try to use reclaimed materials. So I try not to buy anything new unless I really have to. And it works really well, actually. It doesn't look all that great from the back, but it's okay from the front because it's not visible. It's very sturdy. So quite sturdy here. And you can see these cables coming from the NTS2 oscilloscope. I basically have a TRS, a stereo, like a breakout cable for each input and through on the NTS2 right there. And then you can see the audio cables running to the mixer here from the patch bay, basically just like kind of like a snake, but not really. Just tied together with these Velcro things from Thomann. And then I have this little guy here, just a 3.5mm cable coming from the mixer, so I can plug into the monitoring setup there. So I can play through the speakers if I want to. Okay, and in here we have the, I wonder if I can get this in focus. We have the Cioks DC7 pedal power supply. Has a lot of power. I think it's 660 milliamps for 9 volts for each output. So plenty for even quite power hungry digital pedals. Just one of the best purchases I've made. Really good power supply, very dependable, and also comes the USB power, which is going into a USB hub, which is powering the TR-6S and the NTS2. And this is also powering my MIDI through here. So I have the Kenton Kenton MIDI thru 12 here. So basically all my MIDI is going from the Oxi into this and distributed to all the synthesizers through the Kenton MIDI thru. So I'm not using the Oxi split at the moment because I want to have the MIDI through, so I want to be able to play the keyboard with full polyphony with my synthesizers, because the Oxi will limit your polyphony if you actually send your MIDI to the Oxi and from the Oxi into the synthesizers. It will limit the polyphony to 7 or 8, I think. So this is just a way to get full polyphony. We have a 19-inch rack power strip here. I'm already running out of outlets, so I have to see what I can come up with for this one. And here we just have a few cables I need occasionally, like a USB-B cable for like updating hardware, and nothing much else here, just a bunch of cables. But you can see the structure of the desk here, basically built on my old setup, which was this size desk, but I quickly outgrew that and had to build another one. Basically I have these wings here that are going to the front. These are next to the keyboard, so it looks like the keyboard is recessed, but it's actually not. It's kind of faked. And then we have the shelf here, and basically I just got these end pieces from these wooden boards to the right angle to mount the Korg synths there. So basically right now I have like a Korg mega synth there. Looks really good and it's quite nice for ergonomics. And then the rest of the desk is basically built on these legs that I made. These are just 2x4 nailed and glued together to form a sort of a square thing. Quite sturdy, feels good, looks decent enough. And I painted all this black. So another thing about this setup is that it is on wheels, so I can move this thing around, because I have to be able to basically move this in and out of the way, because it's in our living room. And then the keyboard is basically suspended. The front of the keyboard is suspended on these metal plates here, because I had to extend the old desk. So these are quite sturdy and they work well, easy to install, just screwed on there, and they are very light, so it doesn't add any weight. That's another thing that I wanted to take into account, is to not add too much weight to the setup. And these are bits of rubber flooring here to get it flush with the wooden desk here, so I can actually treat this as like a single surface here. And just the same here, metal plate there and another one here to support the keyboard. So I think that's about it for the setup. Not much else to show here. I just like to do this sort of DIY DIY projects, and it's really rewarding and just a way to get exactly what I want, as long as I can come up with the idea and actually build it. But this took quite a bit of planning because I'm not a very skilled woodworker, and I was kind of wanting to recess the keyboard, and just thinking about having to cut an exact hole for the keyboard was quite terrifying. So this was a pretty good compromise here, and actually makes for a better setup. Okay, so I think that's it for the studio tour, and if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll like and subscribe, and I will see you again very soon.